Hey, what's going on, good people? Today we're going to talk about supporting a family member with mental health concerns. Hey, what's going on, good people? It's your boy James Harris, founder of a movement called Mental Heal, which focuses on men's overall wellness, their mental health, physical health, and of course, their emotional health. And I'm also the author of a book called Man Just Express Yourself, which is an interactive planner guide for boys and men to better express themselves. I definitely appreciate all my fellas who went out and got this tool. If you want this tool, be sure to go in and grab it. Father's Day is coming up. Praises to all the spouses who got this tool for the partners. Praise to all my fellow clinicians who are using these interventions and I got this book in our lobby. I definitely appreciate it. If you want to get a copy of the book, be sure to go to Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, Target, Walmart, pretty much anywhere books are sold, including my website. And while you're on my website, be sure to grab my board game, Cheesy Dates, which is an interactive board game for adults, couples, your game nights coming up, anything. Please grab that. It's a good tool. Two different card decks within there. One is date ideas, one is spontaneous questions that you should ask throughout your relationship. Then we got the dice and the pawn pieces, of course, so you can move around the board. So hit me up. I definitely appreciate that. If you're new here, make sure you like, share, subscribe. You've been here for a while. I definitely appreciate you for being liked, or for liking and sharing and staying subscribed. I definitely appreciate it. So when we're talking about caring for a loved one with mental health concerns, you definitely want to ensure that you're helping your friend or family member recognize the signs and symptoms of mental health problems and connect them to different resources. Those resources can be, of course, therapists or outreach centers or crisis centers within your geographical location. Talking to friends and family about mental health problems can be an opportunity to provide information, support, and different guidances throughout this process. Learning about mental health issues can lead to an abundance of things. It can definitely also improve the recognition of early signs of mental health problems. You can assist with early treatment, because if you catch things at a proper amount of time, you're being proactive opposed to being reactive. So that's definitely a benefit. Greater understanding and displaying compassion is definitely important when you're doing those things. Mental illnesses and mental health disorders can affect a person differently, but of course, it affects the areas of their mood, their thoughts, and then, of course, their behaviors. So, when we talk about serious mental illnesses, we're talking about probably the ones that you see in Hollywood movies. They schizophrenia, bipolar, panic disorder, OCD, and major depressive disorder. Hollywood painted a picture that those ones are drastic. But you can also assist your family and friends with the more common ones that you probably hear about or see from your coworkers or even your family members, such as depression or anxiety or handling grief, and some type of trauma within there. Encouraging your loved one to seek help is definitely important. So some symptoms may vary. It's different signs and symptoms, but some of the most common symptoms that you probably see is social withdrawal, difficulty functioning at school, work, or in the community, problems with our memory and thinking, those cognitive issues. Problems with our memory is definitely a function that you'll probably see. You probably ask them something what happened last week, or, and when it comes to thinking or concentration, those things can be issues as well. Some people even feel disconnected from reality. You might see that. Changes in the sleeping pattern, their eating pattern, and hygiene. So if you see them, looking scruffy with the beard, or not brushing their teeth, or combing their hair, or wearing clothes for multiple days at a time, you might want to take notice. And of course, if they have a substance use issue, whether it's alcohol or other drugs, extreme mood changes is definitely another identifier. And thoughts of self harm and harming others, those are also identified. So if you can identify those things, it'll better prepare you to assist your family member who has these mental health challenges. Of course, it's easy to imagine the worst case scenario, but signs often overlap with different problems. So don't beat yourself up if you don't know, or if you are being a little bit overbearing because you recognize some of these things and want to get your loved one help. So consider whether there are other circumstances that might be affecting this person's mood or behavior, because that's definitely important. Did the person recently experience like a shock or witness something such as a death of a loved one, a loss of job, or had to relocate? Because of course that can be an adjustment disorder, that can be trauma, that can be grief. So you definitely want to ensure that you're paying attention to like lifestyle changes. um, because things happen, especially during the pandemic. Some people are adjusting to going back to work. Some people are adjusting to not being at work or being socially distanced from friends, family, colleagues, and uh, classmates, peers, and stuff like that. So you definitely want to ensure that you're expressing your concern without placing the blame. You might say things like, "Hey, I've noticed that you are a little bit more stressed than usual." That might be a thing that you recognize within this person you got the bond with. "I notice you don't seem like yourself lately." And then it's also important that when you say things like that, you back up those statements with different facts, like pointing out the changes that you definitely seen again within the hygiene, or you notice they had on the shirt a couple of days ago for a couple of days, or they haven't been eating when y'all go to lunch, or they're talking about different activities that they no longer enjoy. Those things might be important for you to identify and connect. If you feel like your loved one is in danger of harming themselves or harming someone else, that's an emergency situation. So don't hesitate to call 911 and or your local crisis department so they can get the help that they need. If possible, different officers are trained to show up, but that's up to you if you want to call the police. Of course, it can look differently depending on where you are, but I know a lot of people don't want to call the police when somebody of color is in a crisis situation, because things happen. Find out if the person is getting the care that he or she needs, and if they even want care. If not, try to connect them to other help. Again, you can point them to different websites, you can send them different articles, or give them different tools. It's up to them ultimately to use them, but you did your part. Remind your friend or family member that help is available if they do have mental health concerns or need treatment. Ask different questions, listen to different ideas as well. Be responsive when the topic of mental health comes. Like, don't be afraid to speak up and ask questions, because you're learning. So reassuring your friend or family member that you care about them is definitely important. Offering different resources is definitely a benefit, because you can assist them in identifying ways and changes that they can make during their everyday life. And definitely you want to ensure that you're including them in different plans and continue to invite them to different places, even if they probably going to resist you or either turn down your invitation. You want them to still feel included, so they can get back to being themselves, or they can realize for themselves, like, oh man, I haven't been out with my friends or family in such a long time. I need to do that. Educate the other people so they understand the facts about mental health, and so they wouldn't discriminate. So start as early as possible. Even if you got young kids, it's definitely beneficial for you to do that. Treat people with mental health problems with respect, compassion, and of course have some empathy, because at one point or another you probably encounter somebody who is going through a stressful situation that may lead to depression, or somebody who's potentially had one of those other serious mental illnesses. So I definitely appreciate it. So do you need to help start the conversation about mental health? Of course, it's also beneficial for you to practice on yourself or in the mirror. So try leading questions to make sure that you're using active listening to that family member's response. So, hey, I've been worried about you. What's going on? How come you ain't hit me in a minute? Or can we talk about what you're experiencing? Those things are definitely, questions that you can throw out there. Who are you comfortable talking to? That's another one, because they might say, oh, call my aunt, or call my pastor, or call, my therapist. Oh, you got a therapist? Now we getting somewhere, So ease them into the idea. This is different ways that you can support your family or friend with mental health challenges. What else can I do to help you? Am I someone who cares to listen? Yes, definitely. So all of those things are important when you're talking about that. So do you have other people who experience these type of problems? Have you known somebody who went through this situation before? How did they overcome it? That might be a helpful tool to access as well. When talking about mental health problems, of course, know who to connect these people to. So if you're new here, be sure to hit my website. It's couple of different hotlines on there. Under the resource section is different therapists, different numbers and stuff that you can call. NAMI, of course. Communicate straightforward. You want to ensure that you're being direct with this person. Speak at a level that's appropriate for this person's age of development. You don't want to be talking about a lot of different things and they can't comprehend what you're saying. Discuss the topic when, where the person may feel safe. So if it's in public, you don't want to approach them on that because they might be embarrassed. But if it's in the house or in the office or something, make sure you're secluded enough to where it's comfortable with them discussing it and nobody else is overhearing it. Watch for different reactions during this time because you can slow down, they can back up. If the person give you a confused look, you don't want, again, to embarrass them or make them feel like they have to defend themselves if you do talk about this because it could be sensitive. Mental health or serious mental illnesses can vary with so many different diseases. Like I said, Hollywood will paint the picture as if schizophrenia, bipolar, panic attack, OCD, and major depressive disorder are like drastic, but they look different between person to person. So I definitely appreciate you checking in. Let me know if you got any questions. Hopefully this helped you deal with your family and friends who have mental health concerns. If not, shoot me an email. We can work this thing out together. I appreciate you.